Okay.
Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to our little Svaha podcast interview thing. I'm here today with Cortland Fixes Everything.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be
Thanks,
here.
thanks for being here. Okay, so Cortland makes amazing educational political content. Content warning if you have kids though.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So, Cortland, what inspired you to start making commentary, educational content, and how did you get your name?
So it actually came from a habit I have had for most of my life. Um, I will pace my house or my garage and I will think about problems in the world and I'll start researching them and I'll start trying to figure out how to solve those problems. And then I'll look up if I find a solution that I think is going to work, I will then spend hours just looking up and seeing like, has anyone done research on this? Has anyone, tried this already? And it's literally just a thing I do where I try to fix problems all the time, having no qualifications either. Like it'll be something silly sometimes, like a biology problem, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can figure this out, even though it's totally nonsense. I probably cannot figure that out, but that's generally where it all came from originally. Is a political problem would come up, or we'd have a problem in society. I'd try to think how to fix it, and then I would research what's the evidence that supports my hypothesis, or has this already been done? And generally what ends up happening is people far smarter than me have already accomplished this. They already have the solution. Almost all the problems in society has a solution, but we don't do them, which drives me absolutely batty, which leads me to start making the political content where I show that we already have the solutions to these problems. We just don't do them, and it's maddening, absolutely maddening. So yeah, that was the idea behind Cortland Fixes Everything, because we can fix everything. We just need the knowledge to do so.
So, how did you before your account took off? I don't know. Are you a full-time content creator or are you still doing other things too?
I am still working a full-time job.
Wow.
Yeah, I do doubles on Fridays and Saturdays. I go and work at 11 a.m. and I'm there till probably 3 a.m.
Wow.
And I do that twice a week, and then I have other shifts that I do throughout the week. The problem with my platform, and I say problem, but it's not very easy to monetize a platform that talks trash about the government. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, and and even so, I don't like being dishonest, and it feels kind of grimy to try to take money from my followers. I much prefer to get money from ad revenue when it comes to like, oh, my video got 1 million views. The platform pays me that way. It feels much better for me to take money in that way. Um, like my fans wanted merch, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't, because my goal here isn't to take from you. My goal is to give to you. And so that's why with all my merch, a portion of the proceeds goes to charity, and the rest it's just not enough to pay my bills, so I have to work full time. I would love for this to be a full-time gig for me. I just haven't figured out how to do that in a way that feels authentic, genuine, and not taking from my audience, because I feel like that losing that authenticity of using my platform to take rather than to give, it kind of takes away my credibility. It takes away my ability for people to trust me and believe in me. And because of everything they've given me, I'd rather work a full-time job the rest of my life and not destroy this beautiful thing that I've been given by the people wwho supported me. So
I love that. And also, the problems that you're working towards fixing, they affect you too, just as much as
100%,
everybody else.
100%. It helps keep me grounded. The fact that I'm working full time and I'm not like, I haven't achieved this level of success to where I don't have to worry about the problems of the people anymore, because I can just pay those problems away. Those problems still actively affect me. They actively affect my family and my friends and my community. So I have to care. And I think that's more authentic. I'd rather stay here in where I'm at. Um, yeah, to stay true to myself.
That totally makes sense. Is there anything since you've started your channel that you've learned more about and changed your mind about, that made you rethink what you thought you knew?
Yeah, charity, actually. Charity, because I had this image, and it turns out a lot of people also feel this way about charity, where they think that charities just take money from the public and they don't actually use the money towards helping people. And now this is true about certain charities. Specific charities absolutely do this, where I think legally they're only required to give 3% or 5% of the proceeds they take in to charity, which is evil, by the way. Like, many charities actually are scams, but not as many are scams as I thought. For example, if I give $10 to a charity and I want that money to go to, say, helping women, okay? If that that charity uses some of that money, that $10 towards ad revenue, that seems gross, right? That seems bad. It seems immoral. But if your $10 that you donated then raised $1,000, you just did 10 times the good for that charity and for women than you originally would have with just $10. And so there's this optics war that goes on, and lobbyists and corporations have purposefully used that lens of framing charities to where they're evil because they use it for ad revenue, when actually they're raising more money doing that ad revenue to raise more money to help the people that the charity is meant to help in the first place. And so I originally had that view of like, oh, they shouldn't use it for anything else other than helping whatever their charity is about. But actually now I actually had someone in my comments. I made a video about it, and a woman got in my comments and she was like, I think you should watch this TED Talk. There's a TED Talk that talks about this, and I think it'll change your mind. And she was right. She absolutely changed my mind. I watched that TED Talk, and I was like, oh my goodness. And even further, if the CEO of a charity makes $250,000, that feels icky. That feels gross. But in order to pull talent that could possibly raise tens of millions of more dollars for that charity, you have to pay more to pull in that kind of talent. And paying someone $250,000 for their expertise is very different than a CEO making $10 million off that charity, or a corporation or billionaire using a charity to essentially launder billions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars through charity work, when actually they don't help anybody because they're using a tiny portion. It's very different. So yeah, I changed my mind about that. I changed my mind about how much people get paid working for a charity. I don't think people should live in abject poverty just because they work for a charity. That's rude. You know what I mean? You go to college, you want to do good for society. I don't think you should have to be poor. I also don't think you should be able to buy 6 Maseratis, but that's not what's happening. It's mostly people who are doing it for the passion of it. It's kind of like teachers. Teachers do it for the passion of it. They don't do it because they make money, because they sure do not. Most of them are living in poverty, and it's despicable. So yeah, I changed my mind about that. Absolutely. And I try to keep an open mind to where even the things I'm very vehemently adamant about believing in, I try my best to, if I'm proven wrong, I have to be willing to change, because if I'm not willing to change, how can I expect anybody else to change? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's hypocritical. So I try my best, best I can. And hopefully I do a good job of keeping that up throughout my life.
That's so enlightening, and it's definitely something where the people who are doing good do deserve to get compensated for doing that good, so they can continue to do more good.
Exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you talk so much about revolution. We love that. We want to see the world progress and change. Yeah. Are there changes you want that you think are achievable through ordinary politics in the system that we have now?
Yes. When people first hear it, the first thing they think of, and I get a lot of comments from people saying like, "Oh, you guys are weak," or "You're too soft to fight a violent revolution," and that's what people think of. They think of violence, and actually, it doesn't take violence. It genuinely doesn't. The Montgomery bus protest, they weren't breaking anything. They just didn't use the bus anymore, and that lasted for over a year before it finally worked. Before they finally got what they were fighting for. But they weren't burning anything down. They didn't have to. They just said, "You're not getting my money anymore. We're not going to use you." And the fact of the matter is, majority of Americans agree far more than we disagree. It's just the politics of the media pits us against each other to keep us from ever working together. Because the truth of the matter is, if we wanted to change the world, we could do it tomorrow. That's not an exaggeration. If, let's say, 1/3 of the American population said, you know what, we're all going to work together. We're all going to get in the same Discord server, the same WhatsApp server, whatever, whatever it is. We are going to communicate together, and all of us are going to stop going to work starting tomorrow. And we're all going to go to our capitals. Do you know how fast change would immediately take place if 1/3, just 1/3 of the population stopped working? And there's research about the 3% movement, where it only takes 3% of the population to make change. If you take that in mentality and go even further, and is with women's rights, if all women across the nation wanted their rights, if tomorrow they said, okay, we're not going to work anymore, that would cause change. It would collapse our society overnight. And politicians would have no choice but to bend the knee to our demands. So it's that easy. I mean, Iceland did it. The women of Iceland were like, oh, we don't deserve rights. We don't get the right to vote. 1 second. We are not going to work from now on. And they did it. They took their babies and they handed them to their husbands, and they said, you can feed the baby. You can change the diapers. And by the way, since you're taking care of the baby, you won't be going to work today. And so the entire country shut down overnight because of the power of women just saying, no, I'm done. And they literally got the right to vote within 24 hours. Wow. That's incredible. Yes. Like, this is how easy it is to accomplish our goals. We just need everybody to not agree on everything, because even you and I think more than likely we're probably aligned on most things, but chances are we're not aligned on some things. But that's okay. That's not the goal. Isn't for you and I to agree on everything, because the world's very boring if you and I can't have a discussion and try to change each other's minds. That's fun. You know what I mean? It's fun to learn from others, and that's why traveling is so important. So realistically, we just need everybody to agree on one thing and say, you know what, women deserve the right of bodily autonomy, and we're going to fight for that. We're going to not go to work tomorrow, and we're all going to meet at our local capitals, and we're going to demand change. And I'm telling you, it does not take that many people. If 1 million people showed up at your local capital, things would change rapidly. So no, it doesn't. It does not take violent revolution. Do I think that Molotov cocktails are justified for some of the crimes against humanity that some of our governments around the world have done to, whether it be their own citizens or other people's citizens? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. But that's not what I'm advocating for, because it's not necessary. It can be done non-violently, because it actually is so simple. They just make it hard. They make us think it's harder to accomplish, when really all it takes is just not going to work, not spending money, and working together, going to our local capitals, demanding change. It can change very easily.
Right. And I don't think the end goal for anybody trying to enact change is more violence, when there's already so much of that in the world.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So much. And it's like the thing we're trying to stop. We want to stop violence. Why do we want to add more violence to the problem? Right. Yeah.
So when you hit record for one of your videos, do you picture and frame it as if you were speaking to somebody who already agrees with you, or are you really trying to reach people who don't necessarily agree with you?
Both. Part of the problem with social media is algorithms. The algorithms will purposely only put you in front of people that already agree with you, already like you, already align with your beliefs, which I think sucks, because I remember the old days of YouTube where you would just get randomness. It was just random feed, and you would see whatever was popular at the time. And that was spread through word of mouth. And I wish we could have a social media, or a way to change the settings of social media where I could get that again. Because who knows? I don't get very much crochet content on my page, but who knows? I might really like crocheting. I might really like, brewing kombucha, but I don't see that content. You know what I mean? So there's so many hobbies and so many places of interest that I'll never see, because I don't get access to it. It doesn't show me unless I go search it. When I first blew up on my platform, I was being shown to both sides of the political platforms, or political sides. And ironically, people on both sides liked what I was saying. And this is why I say we don't have to agree on everything. We just have to agree on a few things. We just set all the other stuff aside. Now, I'm not saying that the other things that we disagree on aren't a problem. I'm not saying that we shouldn't address those. I'm not saying that we should forgive some of the things that we disagree on, because some of those things need to be addressed. I'm just saying, for one day, to accomplish a goal that we both want to achieve, we can just put our differences aside and focus on that one thing. I do try. Sometimes I fail, because sometimes I get pissy and I will be a bit rude to one side or the other of the political spectrum. And it's something that I have to constantly check myself on and go, I want to make allies of the world, not make enemies of the world. Despite however angry they make me, because of that belief that all it takes is us agreeing on one thing to change the world. What's an example of term limits for politicians? That is a universally accepted thing that both political sides believe needs to happen, and yet it doesn't happen. You look at most things that it doesn't matter how much of the American population, or any population generally, mostly America though, it doesn't matter how many of us believe that something should be a certain way or something should change. That has no effect on whether it will become policy or law. Literally no effect. It only becomes change once enough people demand it. Once enough people demand change. And that's why I say, like, the majority of the American population believe there should be term limits, yet there are not. This is why, if we all just said, listen, for today, just today, on Monday, we're not gonna talk about any of our things we disagree on. We're just gonna focus on the thing we do agree on. And then all of a sudden, we get change. We get change overnight. And we get something that helps everybody. These problems are easy to solve. We fall for the propaganda. We fall for the media pitting us against each other so that we never unite. And this is if we could just overcome this one thing, we could accomplish change. So yes, I do try to appeal to both audiences, even though one side of the political spectrum won't see the majority of my videos, because the algorithms push me to one side rather than the other. It's just, unfortunately, it's part of it. But my stuff does still get shared with the other side. People either post it, reposting it helps a lot. Sending it to members of your family or friends that may not agree with everything, but they might agree with some of it. And so I hope that I'm going to get better at appealing to both sides. We'll see if the algorithms care or not, but I'll try my best.
Knock on wood.
Right.
So the reason that we're talking today is because we have a collaboration coming up. We're so excited. So why don't you tell me a little bit about how that collaboration came about?
So the majority of my following is women. Just to be clear, I don't know how that happened. I don't know what about me is worthy of their attention, because I'm a man. Ew. Why would we do that? But I'm so grateful for the kindness and love I've been given. And in return, that's why I try to help women's charities, because the platform I have was given to me. I didn't earn this because I'm amazing. I got it because people gave it to me. Yeah, they liked what I said and they supported me. And so I try to give back to them. And for 2 years, I think it was a year and a half, 2 years, I've been trying to make a dress with pockets, and it's hard. It's genuinely hard. I was having so much trouble, and I said, you know what? Why am I putting all this work on myself? Why don't I use the power of the internet to find me someone that wants to collaborate and that can figure this out? And so I made a video asking, what's a dress company you all support? What's a dress company that could give you dresses with pockets? And I will talk to them and see what happens. And they tagged you guys over and over and over again, and then you guys reached out to me, and it worked out perfectly. So yeah, that's how it came about. I'm so grateful that you guys hit me up, and we're finally able to get dresses with pockets. I actually felt bad because it took so long to give them dresses with pockets, but you know what? Maybe this is the beginning of a women's clothing revolution, where we can make dresses with pockets, we can make jeans with pockets, big pockets, not little pockets that hold tiny. You remember the iPod Nanos?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like women's clothing are just for iPod Nanos and not for actual phones. It's insane. It drives me absolutely crazy. And the sizes is another thing that is baffling to me. I was looking for clothing for my girlfriend, and every store I went to, the sizes were different. They meant different things. What do you mean? What do you mean the clothing's different? The sizes are different in every single store I go to. And if you go online, it's like, this is madness. How do you guys keep up with this? And, I go to a store, the jeans are all the same. The sizing is all the same.
Yep.
But y'all don't have that. What do you
No.
mean 0 and a 28 might be the same thing in different stores? What?
Right. Meanwhile, men can just walk in and it's like, oh, you have a 36-inch waist. Here you go.
That's nonsense. Yeah. So no, I think it's madness. But that's how this came about. As I just reached out to the internet, and unfortunately, I was asking women to do work for me. That might have been rude, but they delivered. They told me that they supported you guys, and I'm hoping that this will give them what they've been asking for almost 2 years.
And we hope so too. So we're launching the collab on Women's Equality Day. What does equality between all the genders mean to you? Like, what would that look like in an ideal world?
Oh man. I feel like our world is so far from that sometimes it's hard to imagine a world where we have that.
Right.
Because the divide is so vast. And it's depending on what part of the world you're in too, it gets worse and worse and worse. But for example, giving women equality, let's just start with women. Giving women basic bodily autonomy, the power to choose when and if they decide to have children. Give them the choice to get educated. Just that alone. Any country it's ever been done in, the quality of life of that country has gone up. The poverty rate of that country has gone down. The rates of domestic violence have gone down. The rates of child abuse goes down. The rates of hunger go down. When you empower women to accomplish, to have just a basic say over their own destiny, the entire country does better. Not just women, men do better. Men live longer in a world where women have equal rights. Like it's genuinely crazy that every country it's ever been done in, it works. And so a better world for all means giving equality to all. It's simple. I grew up in a family of mostly women who were unfairly treated for most of their life, who dealt with unspeakable horrors in their life, and they're not unique either. They're not unique at all. They are one of billions of women over time who have suffered the injustice of not being given basic decency, basic autonomy over their own lives. Yet look how much women have given the world, despite not having basic equality. I think growing up with the women in my life, seeing how strong they were and how much injustice they faced kind of opened me up to seeing the injustices for others and seeing just how cruel our world has been to women, how cruel our world currently is to women. And again, depending on what part of the world you're in, it gets worse and worse and worse. But if we truly want to see a utopia on Earth, it begins with equality. It begins with equality for all. And the thing is, there's never been a time where we look back in history and go, oh, it was a bad thing to give someone equality. That was bad. It's never happened. And so the argument that anyone would try to make to say that any group, it doesn't matter if it's women, children, trans, gay, I don't care who it is, everyone deserves rights. The argument that any of them don't deserve rights is never going to be the correct part of history, because looking back, every time equality was given to a group, it was the right thing to do. Like, it's never been a good thing to take rights away from people. And society demonstrably gets better every single time that a community is given basic decency and equality. And ironically, our country says, all men are created equal. And I imagine when they said that, they looked at each other and were like, yeah, we don't actually mean that for everybody. But it's just the hypocrisy of our country to say, oh, all men are created equal. And maybe that's the point. It says all men, not all people. And maybe that was originally what they meant. They're like, yeah, obviously women don't deserve rights. But again, the evidence is abundantly clear. It's overwhelmingly clear that every time you give women rights, the world gets better. And so that's why I'm going to continue to advocate for this. This is why it's necessary for us all to demand that everyone has equality, because we all have sisters, we all have mothers. Women are the reason human beings exist in the first place. We wouldn't be here without them. Like, we don't have incubation pods that could create life yet. We owe everything to women. We owe everything to you. And the audacity of any man to think that we deserve to have any control over whether or not you have rights is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. So yeah, that is what equality means to me, a better life for everybody, because we owe everything to you.
I love that. That's amazing. So final question. If someone wants to make a change, like any small change, what would you say is a good first step in making that change?
Getting involved locally, because it's very easy, especially in this society. We're a very individualistic society.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we have issues, we don't call our friends, we don't call our family. We have too much pride because we're taught to be strong, independent individuals. But that's not how human beings operate. That's not how we got here. We didn't get here because we all worked alone to accomplish goals. That's not how this works. The greatest accomplishments ever achieved by human beings were done as collaborations. The pyramids were not an individual effort. Making it to the moon was not an individual effort. It was the collective effort of tens of thousands of people, and also a very important woman who, without her, the launch would not have happened. The astronauts on that mission said, you must check the math with her or I will not go on that mission. It is thanks to a woman. Again. But yeah, getting involved locally, because it's very different when a community is being impacted and you're not involved in that community. You don't know what's affecting that community. But if you're involved and then there's a policy that shows up on the docket that affects that community that you are actively being a part of, now it's personal, because you know those people's names. You know the people that work at that charity. You know the people that you work with all the time, whether it's a food bank, a charity, a shelter, any of those things. You know their names, you know their lives, you know their children's names. It's personal when you're involved. And so, and even, it doesn't have to be this grand thing where you donate hundreds of hours every year to this charity. If you donated 2 hours a month, 1 day a month, one partial day a month, that now becomes personal. And now you have more people in your circle, more people in your community. That is how you get involved. Because as much as the internet can achieve a lot, someone like Jen Hamilton, I love. Do you know who Jen Hamilton is?
I know of Jen Hamilton. Yes.
Jen Hamilton. Getting Jen Hamilton has become an adjective. It is so sick that she will just say, "Hey guys, we're going to help this person," and all of a sudden that person's life changes. That's incredible. And so having an online community like that can accomplish change, absolutely. But if you want, imagine if half of America chose 1 day a month to donate their time, just a few hours of their time, to a local charity for something they cared about personally. Now you're part of a community, a large community. And when that community is attacked, it's now personal. And now it means something. And now it encourages people to get more involved, because, there's an attack on women. Women are losing their rights. And everyone at the women's shelter down the street that I know and work with every month, are all planning a protest at the Capitol. I'm going to be there. I'll see you there, because y'all are my friends. You're my community. I see you every month. I know you. I know who you are. I know your family's names. It's personal then. Mm-hmm. That's how we begin the process of change, is getting involved in our community. And I know it's hard, because I am very much a homebody. I can be a social butterfly, but my battery is small. It's a low battery. And once that battery is diminished, I want to go home. Okay. So I get desire of wanting safety by staying home, by the safety of not wanting the uncomfortable feeling that you may get when you're around other people. But that's inconvenience is part of a community, is part of being a part of a community. The inconvenience that I might not like every human interaction that I have with every single person, the inconvenience of, oh, well, I have to take time out of my day to go to that charity to go do some work for them. That's the sacrifice we must make to be a part of a community, because, and it's necessary that we do it. It's necessary that we tolerate that, because if that community needs something, we can be there for them. And it's not just for them too. It's also for us, because if I need something, they're there for me. I now have a whole group of people that I can contact now and say, hey, so I now find myself in a position where I need to use the shelter. Can you guys help me? And they can, because you're one of them. You're a member of that community. This is how we begin change, is by building more and more community. And I dream of a day where everyone becomes involved in their local community, and then all of us can begin working together on the things that we all care about. You know, you may be working on let's say women's rights, and someone else may be working on disability rights, someone else may be working on minority rights. It's perfectly fine for you each to have your own thing that you're working on, but there are things that affect all of us. And since we're all involved in our communities, we can say, hey, this policy that's coming down from the government affects all of us. So let's all meet up, help each other, so that we can help everybody. This is how we create change, is getting involved locally, even if it's just one day a month. And I know that some people can't leave the house because of a disability or you know, whatever it may be. There's plenty of reasons why people just can't physically go out and help. There are other ways to help. You could be someone who answers phones for them. Mm-hmm. You know, just reaching out to a community that you care about, that's important to you, is how you begin that process. What can I do to help you guys? Even if it's just, you know what, every time you guys post an ad campaign on Facebook, I reshare it for you. Even something as simple as that, but just calling and asking, what can I do to be a part of this community? What can I do to help? That's how we begin.
Yeah. And not to get on my soapbox myself.
Please do.
But
Do it. Get on your soapbox. I love it.
But I think that also helps people develop empathy, which I think is something that is lacking a lot. And it's easy to get in your own head when you just go to work and come home every day and then scroll on the internet for hours. And it's so easy to be judgmental of other people. It's even people on the other side who they've just bought into the propaganda from the powers that be. You know, if we all just had a little bit more empathy, the internet would be a nicer place, but also so would with the world.
You nailed it 100%. 100%. That's why I said it means something. It matters now, because you're a part of the community now. It affects people you care about. And it now becomes, it lights a fire in people to be more of an activist, because they're part of the community and they see the consequences. They see the pain and suffering that is inflicted on a community because they're there, even if it's just once a month. They still see it with their own eyes, which gives them more empathy, seeing what it's like in someone else's shoes, which then opens them up to all the other people with all the other things they may not understand, the shoes they've never walked in. You're exactly right. You nailed it 100%. 100%.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time for us today.
No, thank you. I'm the one who's grateful. I what did I do to deserve y'all's attention? Thank you so much. Y'all are so kind to me.
Well, we are so excited to have our collab with you, and that will launch pretty soon here on Women's Equality Day. And part of the proceeds will benefit Women for Women International. So I hope everybody looks forward to it.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. And you guys nailed the design. I just want it. I was looking at it when the samples came in. I was like, this is unbelievable, incredible. I was so overwhelmed by how beautiful it was. My girlfriend, when I pulled it out of the package, I showed her. I was like, babe, I was like a little kid. I was giddy. I was like, babe, look at this. Look how pretty it is. And I was getting teary eyed, genuinely getting teary eyed by how beautiful it was. So I'm so overwhelmed with joy, and I'm so grateful for everything you guys have done working with me. I hope that this is the beginning of a much longer collaboration, because I have a couple more dresses that I would like. I have a couple more outfits that I would like, even if it's just for my girlfriend. And my girlfriend was like, "That's really pretty. Can they do it a different dress design?" And I was like, "Don't worry, I'll ask." And so who knows? I hope we could start doing more good for women, whether it be more for charity and or more for more outfit options. Yeah, but let's put some pockets in some pants, man.
Yes, pockets and everything.
Pockets and everything. Y'all deserve it.
And shout out to Jaya, who came up with the design. She is just
Incredible.
our talented, lovely CEO.
So talented.
Oh,
so talented. I couldn't believe it. She probably did that in like, I don't know, 40 minutes. Like
probably.
I feel like within a few days of us talking, she had it. I was like, you're this good. Okay.
She knew instantly. So she had the vision and just
incredible. Incredible.
Awesome.
What a pleasure.
Well, thank you so much. And thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks so much for having me. Talk to you soon. Bye. Let me know if you need anything.
Will do. Bye.
Bye.